Call to order the meeting, the June meeting of the Human Resources Board. Present are Mark Lechman, Chair.
John Ferrara.
Anthony Antico.
Rick Harris.
Diane Doyle.
And John Lucy is excused, he won't be joining us, but Tracy will be shortly to cover a couple of items. While we're waiting for her, let us take a couple minutes to read through the meeting minutes from May.
There were two typos.
So everyone had a chance to read through the minutes? Is there a motion to approve? Motion? Seconded? Any discussion on the minutes? If not, all in favor of accepting the minutes as written for May, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are accepted. Thank you. Tracy?
How are you?
Nice to have you with us.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Diane, in John Lucy's absence, are there any employee issues that you make us aware of?
None that I'm
Tracy?
aware of.
The only thing, I don't know if it's really an issue, but the building inspector issue is still kind of swirling around. Yeah, just keep it on your radar, that's all.
Okay, anything that we need to take action on at this point, or is this ongoing discussion?
Just a couple of public information requests about other employees and things like that, but
Okay, duly noted.
not adversarial, just still swirling, that's
Okay.
all.
These things rarely go gently into the night.
And it's,
Okay, thank you. Any other employee issues that we were? Personnel actions and job vacancies, nothing has hit my attention over the last month.
We filled the assessor's clerk position. She's on board and started. We don't have any current vacancies. And we've got all of our rates, you started signing off all PAFs for next year.
All signed, well, with the exception of a couple that we should just grab you on, just to clarify a couple things.
sure.
Other than that, my hand is still
It's
tense when I'm ready. 40 minutes on the button. So,
Other than that, I don't know of any.
okay, why don't we just take a moment then, because I
Sure.
know you wanted to address an issue relative to a current position that might require some subcommittee classification.
Yes, I
So
wanted
why don't we
you
do that
guys to
first?
take a look at that because it had been quite some time. It was the assistant finance director position.
Okay.
It had been some time since you had ranked it or reviewed it.
Right.
And I know that's what brings it up when I start going through all the PAFs and looking
Right.
at them. And I was working with Diane on the classification schedule itself.
So was there something about the job description you thought required updating, or
The
was
job
it?
description needed to be updated. I think it was just a town accountant position when we last graded it, if I'm not mistaken. It was 2013, I believe. I'll have to double check, but, and it's an assistant finance director now.
Okay,
And that's another one that we've started the succession planning. We have the assistant now who's
Right.
working with Eileen. Hopefully, with some solid training and education, she'll go through the coursework
great.
at UMass Amherst. She'd be able to move into that position.
So your feeling is that there's been enough substantive change that you're requesting that
I
a
think so.
classification subcommittee take a second look at
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
If we could just go through the rankings, that would be great.
Okay, then we'll schedule a subcommittee meeting sometime over the next 30 days.
Sure.
Refresh my memory, Tony, were you taking over for Rick and his role as a member of the classification subcommittee? Is
that it?
I think.
She's shaking her head, narrowly so.
Well, I know you sat with us in our last.
I know, that's
subcommittee
right, yeah.
in anticipation.
In anticipation thereof, oh yeah.
No pressure.
No, no,
One question, how, UMass Amherst, is that over the internet?
No, you physically go, it's like a week's worth of
So-
coursework, and you go,
Reside and
you
stay?
reside in
Yes.
their campus center hotel.
Yes.
And over a series of years, you gain once you take all the requisite coursework, then you sit for an examination to become certified. So, and Diane has her certification, she went through the program for treasurer collector as well.
Understood.
Well, before we leave that topic then, why don't we schedule, if folks can take a moment just to look at their calendars, it would be Diane, Tony, myself, and obviously we'd love to have you join us for the purposes of asking some questions about duties and responsibilities. So, Tracy, I'll start with you. What does your calendar look like over the first couple of weeks in July?
I'm on vacation the
Okay.
first 2 weeks.
First 2 weeks in
Yeah,
July?
yeah.
Okay, is this a code red?
No.
Okay, so can it hold until the week of you're back on Monday the 15th?
Yep.
Tony, Diane, how does that look for you?
Yeah.
That should be
The week
okay.
of the 15th?
Yeah, I get back to you just to confirm, okay, because we're supposed to be going up to New Hampshire
Okay.
about a week and a half,
Okay.
but sometimes I'm not.
You know what the dates are?
No, it's going to be beginning around the July 3rd timeframe, and
Okay.
then I said, how long? Well, I don't know yet. So I'm in that sort of a.
Well, how about something like Thursday the 18th? Give everybody a chance to
Sure.
catch their breath. You're just back from vacation, Tony, you may just be back in New Hampshire. Thursday the 18th, Diane?
Yep.
I think that works. Pick a time. Tracy, what works?
10 a.m.?
10 a.m.?
Sounds good.
Done.
9 a.m.
Okay.
We'll miss you at the hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure.
10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and
fine.
should we reserve?
Yeah, I'll reserve,
Is that
and
some-
also we'll look at the job description beforehand and see if
Yep.
anything
I'll
needs to
get it all
change.
sent around.
Okay, so that is Thursday, July the 18th at 10 a.m.
Yep.
Thank you all. Nothing else in personal actions or job vacancies? No discrimination and or ethics issues that I'm aware of. Safety issues, we'll defer to John, Lucy, now, I'm not aware of anything there. Other business, personal policy update, final posted.
So it's been posted, it's completed, it's been posted to the website. And the two caveats that I think we need to just add in is Rick's comment in the review of the manager's handbook, possibly adding the job vacancy form to it as a document, as an addendum. And the only other thing I had difficulty with, Tony, was adding in our expanded index. So I had a hard formatting issue, and I just haven't had a chance for somebody, we had done a table of contents that basically listed the chapters, but Tony had taken the time and the effort to put together a more extensive, kind of a topic index.
nice.
And when I went to insert it, because it was more lengthy, I was having difficulty with the pages.
Right, but it's not the way I set it up, not being the what do you call it? The formatting professional.
Yep,
I just, next page, or whatever it was at that
Right.
time, so.
but it was longer, so by the time I added it in,
Yeah,
it
it's-
threw, but I'm gonna,
I don't know if you
so I
can do
still.
that, the way
I
you
think
set it up.
I think Susan, our
It's just
IT
Word, I
person,
think.
can help with that. So those two things just need to be tweaked.
Right, can
So
I-
the plan, yep,
Just while we're on it, on there were two, there's one addendum in the policy manual. Right now it's blank, but it shouldn't be blank. There were the job vacancy form with instructions should be, I think that should be Appendix A, addendum, Appendix A, and then the personnel action form
Okay.
with its instructions, Appendix B.
okay,
And I just wrote on the top, obviously, what they should be.
Okay.
But that's a great place to put those.
okay, yep, okay, that'd be
Here.
good. I'll add those in, and then we'll work on the index that you took the
Thank you,
time.
Tony.
Yeah. And so the plan is at this point, we're gonna be emailing that out, the signature page out for every single employee to be pointed in the direction that it's posted on the website, acknowledging that they know where it is, and then a signature saying that they've received instructions on how to resource this and putting that document in their personnel folder.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Which leads us into just, I think, some follow-up issues on the next line, that when we did finalize the personnel policy manual, we talked about eliminating the separate sexual harassment policy that we had. I think we talked about it briefly at our last
We did,
meeting,
right.
but where Tracy wasn't here, I think we just wanted to circle back. I can't recall why, but
I think we talked about duplication of effort, didn't
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, it doesn't
It's
need
now
to be
embedded
in
in the
both
new,
places.
policy, so we figured it wouldn't require, but still it's equally important to make sure that we have assigned.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then also the same question with the manager's handbook. So I think at the last meeting, we had distributed the manager's handbook with the understanding that we take a look at it to see if we could eliminate that as well.
Yes.
Is there some consensus on that? I mean, I felt like we were heading in that direction last month.
The reason to say let's take one more look at it was just as a completeness check. So I sent out the email saying I did, and I think we're okay to eliminate the manager's handbook because it's covered in the personnel policy. The danger is that the personnel policy is 60-some pages and the manager's handbook is 17. So just in terms of helping the manager wade through it when they need it, there's a separate implementation issue, but I don't think we need the two documents.
Right. I think I had suggested maybe like a cycle of a cycle of an employee, or basically like a kind of just a guide to, like, here's what happens when you have an opening. You know, you post for the job vacancy. You know, kind of like a guide. If
Yeah, I think that's great internally.
Yeah, for internally, and so that's what I had suggested, and I think you had indicated that you thought that might work.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I have another idea, if this is the time to throw it out there.
Yeah.
It's in your monthly meetings, right? Monthly management meetings?
Bi-monthly now.
Okay.
Yep.
You could have a 10-minute segment on just one of the sections in the manual, and you could even take the heat off yourself by asking one of your managers, rotate among the managers, so that one of them would be responsible for, say, new hire, and another one then would be responsible for discipline, and another one would be responsible for sexual harassment. What you think would be the key topics that they should be brushed up on, that just have them each take it over the course of, it's only 6 meetings a year, so over the course of maybe 2 years, you could actually cover everything, and then it would be current for people that they would be going through it. So I think the roadmap idea, I think, is a good one.
Yeah.
And then this might be a way to engage
That's
the
great.
managers around. This is your job. This is how you treat people. It's an important way for us to be successful here, so let's stay on top of all the pieces.
It's delegation too, and that's always a big part of leadership. I come down on a mildly different page regarding this. I almost see this as Cliff Notes. It requires a signature, and my recommendation would be to leave this in place for 24 months, 2 cycles, until they get used to the monster piece of 65 pages.
When you say leave this in place, are you referring to the?
Duplication for
The managers?
this year and next, and that allows them to sign this paper and probably actually read it, as opposed to many will sign the larger dossier and not read it.
The only thing I'll tell you is that's now outdated.
How
It's complete.
do we correct it?
We would have to all sit down and review it and update it.
Okay, all
And
right.
it's duplication of what's in it's
I think,
personnel policy.
Well, that would be a tortured exercise.
correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that's why we had talked last month about
Yeah.
perhaps a 4, 5, 6 page,
An abstract.
manager's, say, handbook, but here's a helpful guide
Yeah.
to be able to navigate this 65-page document. Here are the things that you as a manager need to be thinking about, the things that aren't necessarily important to the employee population, how to post a job, during the disciplinary grievance process, these are the things that, as a manager, the importance we have for documentation. So I might suggest that we create a separate subcommittee and over the next month, work on creating a simple, user-friendly, manager-friendly document that's no more than, half dozen pages long, that will, as always, map to the personnel policy, but just, focuses on things that are important, for the manager that aren't necessarily,
It's almost like
glaring at them.
almost like a workflow,
Yeah, more methodical kind of.
yeah,
And that would, I like your point about having something to refer to outside of that 65-page document.
Yeah.
A guide to the document. Yeah, they
To
do.
Diane's point, to go retro.
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Well, within that context, a guide to the program would be good, especially for the manager.
Yeah.
When I was, I have a comment, when I was going through the manager's handbook, I said, let me just go through the policy manual and see where I can find all of these topics. Every single one, it's right in there.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking about what you had said last time about coming up with an FAQ or whatever, and it's just list the manager's handbook. For example, on recruitment, it's on chapter 10. You know, if you had a question on recruitment, just put recruitment, duplicate the existing menu, and in essence, it should be a one-pager maybe,
Right.
where that is to be found. In many instances, it's found verbatim. This is literally a total, duplication. So,
The table of contents does that exactly. Tells you where to find it.
right, that's why the effort is in expanding as much as possible the table of contents. The other question I had was, and they refer the personnel action form, the job vacancy forms, and everything else. That's about 4 or 5 pages right there, And performance improvement, by the way, that's in chapter 12, discipline, all right? But that led me to a part of that, which was
Excuse me, I thought we separated that
performance.
out. I thought we took that out of.
we took it out of.
No, I'm talking about the manager's handbook.
Oh, I'm
now.
sorry. I thought it was
Okay.
personal policy, sorry.
But that leads me to the performance evaluation, which is omitted entirely in the personnel policy manual, of which we all know. So
Yeah.
the other item that I
Russell,
found
that alligator?
was 30.
What was,
That's a member of board members changing. At some point will happen.
In the manager's handbook, again, it was a full-time employee defined as not fewer than 30 hours. 30 hours is and in the policy manual, it's 35. So maybe some people are still operating under 30, I don't know.
well, we have 30, but they're not considered full-time, they're considered permanent part-time.
Oh, so is it permanent part-time?
If we look at the policy document.
Okay, so well, that controls it, okay.
Yeah. Which doesn't mean benefits eligible, because that hits at 20, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So for historical context, the manager's guide was basically drafted because the personnel bylaws were so minimal that it was really an intention for people to be held accountable for here's what you do. And that's where the employee handbook and the manager's guide kind of came up. It was, I think those two documents were basically an attempt at a more beefier policy document, if you will. And the idea is we don't want to be updating multiple documents. We have one document that covers everything.
All right.
Well, I would like to ask Tracy her thoughts on this, because one of the things we tried to do years ago with the manager's handbook is speak to issues that weren't obvious and in black and white. Here's where to find how to post a job. That stuff's easy. But part of that manager's handbook I thought was dedicated to, as a manager of the town of Newbury, these are the things that perhaps, off script, we want you to be thinking about. We want you to be cognizant of. So I want to ask your thoughts on whether you would like us to craft a simple, manager-friendly 4, 5, 6-page document that can be used as a supplement to.
I think that would be helpful to have it and to make sure it's just supplemental as opposed to them reading only that and not the policy document.
Yeah, we don't want to,
Implementing what you suggested at the managers meeting, I
Yeah.
think between the two of those, it would be very helpful.
yeah, okay, okay. And I might recommend we create another subcommittee to that. I'm happy to be involved. John, is there something you'd like to come up with? And perhaps, I'll see if we can list Deputy Chief Lucy, and
Okay, sure.
perhaps you'd like to sit with us?
Yep.
I think it'll be no heavy lifting, and
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
okay, so why don't I speak to Deputy Chief Lucy, and then I'll double back with the two of you and see if we can find a date and grab an hour and hopefully get it done.
Yeah,
Great,
sounds good.
thank you. CORI process, that's
So,
something we need to hit?
yeah, so briefly, we just wanted to, I think it came up when we were going through a lot of these documents, and just making sure that we're up to date on what the process is for CORI checks. Who is a CORI certified?
I think I asked you and I, we were looking for that quite a while ago.
Right, and we
Yeah.
came back with the understanding that it was John Lucy, and that it was also Jean Ackerley.
Gene Ackerley.
Now, my understanding is that Jean, I'm not sure if she's actually gone through the process of becoming certified. I know she was conducting CORIs, but I don't know that she, so I think that's something that we need to look at.
How is she conducting them if she hasn't gone through the process?
I think it became, my understanding was that she had the ability to log in, but I don't know that she's, so maybe it's something that
She's using the previous director's login.
I am not stating
Let's
that.
investigate.
I think we just need to revisit the CORI process, maybe with John Lucy. Just so that we're tight, I mean, just, that's something I think,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Is
Tom
a
needs to
risk.
get your
Yeah,
hands
that's
on
the
that,
last
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Okay.
So, John Lucy, yourself, maybe me, just kind of review,
Definitely.
because it's been a while.
And would those be the only two departments that, where that is required?
What about council on aging? People going in,
I thought Maggie was certified.
I think we just need to confirm who is and are they, you know.
That
'Cause I
might be one of
think
those things that would require an annual signature perhaps?
Yeah.
Is it, you know, are you and is it current?
Yeah.
I mean, that includes the volunteers that work for Maggie?
Yep.
Okay.
Volunteers,
It's just-
we have volunteers who drive buses, who take people to
Yeah.
appointments, things like that.
It was just an opportunity to just update.
Yep.
We were in there the other day when they were stuffing envelopes, and there's a whole cadre of folks.
Yeah, right.
For the letter.
Yep.
I bet not as many as there are volunteer firefighters.
Probably not.
My left arm can speak to that, could I?
The trouble is, it comes in from the
We're
front.
just signing all the PAFs.
I mean, every year I marvel at how many people are listed on that volunteer fire department list. There have to be 60 of them, I don't know.
Oh, at least, at least.
So, okay. HR board appointments, I think everyone is current with their terms of service or dates, and
So-
everyone has indicated their interest in remaining, I think, on the board to the
So I think
Board of
Ellen was
Selectmen.
drafting the appointment, so I think, we just need to sign in
Tuesday
again.
night.
Oh, they're tomorrow night?
Yep.
Okay, so once we are appointed, we'll just have to sign in again.
Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah,
as it
Tony.
relates to the rather impossible task of replacing
Right.
Rick, near impossible task of replacing.
Aristotelian master.
The possibility might be in the candidates, not in me.
I did take the opportunity to send a note to the chairs of 7 or 8 of the various boards and committees in town. I CC'd Tracy on that.
Yep.
Explaining what we're attempting to do and encouraging them to get back to me with any thoughts they might have or any names they might have of somebody they knew that might be appropriate. And
proselytize their farm team.
Has the response been
I
overwhelming?
will let you know as soon as I get a response.
But I think we ought to be direct and say we want to take the farm team.
Crickets,
Yep.
but it's okay.
I think that's probably one of the great places to find somebody that's in the queue,
Yeah.
ready, who wants to serve
My-
now and
my-
not wait.
My thought process was,
Yeah.
so, I did want to ask you to follow up on the conversation you and I had maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
You thought there was a gentleman that might have interest.
Gerard Witten from
Right.
MVPC. I had talked to him, I cornered him one day and I said, is that something, he was telling me about an issue, an HR issue he
Right.
was dealing with at work and telling me how, very definitively, how he would have handled it. I said, well, now that you mention that.
So it's in his court?
I did give him
Okay.
your contact information, but,
Okay. Do you see him with any regularity?
he's here periodically and I can talk to him from time to time.
If at some point you think I should
I'll
round this
follow
page,
up
I'm
with him.
happy to, or
Yeah.
I didn't want to be fooled with it, so.
I mean, on a positive note, just asked to meet him face to face over coffee the same way you and I met.
That's how a lot of these
Yeah.
departments are started.
That's great.
So, okay. So no, excuse me, no update here in terms of a bench replacement. We are good for the time being. We are above our quorum, quorum being 4, assuming that John will be here. Excuse me. So with that in mind, any other new business to address?
There was one, we actually drafted, this should have fallen, now that I think about it, under personnel actions and job vacancies. We drafted a job description for a temporary clerk, that, basically, when we have someone that's out and we need coverage on a desk, or they're doing filing or basic, office clerk work. We drafted a job description that, we felt just needed to state what the pay rate was, but we weren't recommending that it be reviewed by the classification committee. Did you want to, that was the only, did you want to speak to that?
So this
or-
person was sort of a catch-all?
Yeah, we have people who go out like on a maternity leave or a medical leave, or when we're in between, for example, with the assessor's office, we had Heidi Fran filled in temporarily for us, and just as this was happening, it's like, we don't even have a job description or a rate or anything really put together for that, so we thought it would be good just to have it in the file. It doesn't happen often, but
It basically states that it's to provide desk coverage, act on assigned duties, answer the phones, file,
Okay.
etc. But we weren't recommending that it go through a classification because it's really just on an as-needed basis.
Well, how would you then determine what rate?
it's, the rate that they have historically paid has always been $15 an hour, and that was long before I got here, so I don't know that it needs to be adjusted.
How do they find, are these people in the queue in the neighborhood who just,
Generally, people in town, Yeah.
you say call me when you need me?
exactly.
I mean, it's,
Retired,
And you've had no difficulty doing that at $15 an hour?
nope,
I
not
mean,
at
that's
all.
entirely ad hoc as you need it.
Yeah,
Temporary,
and it
isn't
did-
temporary a classification in itself?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. We have had instances when departments needed additional help for filing and things like that, and came forward with rates much
16,
higher
yeah.
than that, and it's like, no, that's why I had asked Diane, let's put it in the file, so anyone, no matter what they're doing, temporary help, $15 an hour,
Anyone see a need to have this classified?
Well, maybe. I just think, when you say put it in the file, the advantage of having it classified is that's the file. Like
Yeah.
the big spreadsheet
Yep.
is the file, so this would be a separate piece of paper someplace that you might have to remember where did I put that.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, in here, I meant the classification.
So that would be the reason,
Yeah.
I mean, for simplicity's sake, I think it's like every other, I mean, you could just do it arbitrarily by looking at all the other people you're trying to benchmark it against. I don't think we need to go through the 10 items of the classification system. I think we could
Yeah.
just say, but have it stored on the spreadsheet with all the other positions so that you know where to
Okay.
find
Okay,
it.
so could we do that with our meeting on the 18th?
Sure, that should be quick.
Okay.
Okay, good, thank you. Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
I
We are adjourned.